This is another football game called Pro Evolution Soccer 5. Now this was a rival to FIFA, and supposedly this was the better gaming experience, but without the licensed teams. Now I have noticed that a few in this game between Arsenal and Villa, a lot of players are familiar to me. So it looks like they've got the licensing for some teams and players, but not all of them. But still, it does play a decent game, and on this machine there's no problems really. Okay, so that's Evo 5. Now this is another game by id Software. It's called Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and I believe it uses the same engine as the first Quake game. Some very nice effects in this game. One thing I did notice, I didn't actually have to put all the graphical settings onto the lowest quality, so this machine does pretty well with these sort of settings. So yeah, it's usual id standard of quality, considering the age of the game. Definitely worth taking a look at. Okay, so that's Return to Castle Wolfenstein. But this is another shoot 'em up called Soldier of Fortune 2. Now I believe there's a few games in this series, but I know nothing about it, and I'm sure if I took my time there would be more stealth involved in this game, but for this it's just a test. But there's some fairly decent effects, as you could see there. Now once again, this machine's, the laptop's fan is working overtime to try and do its best to keep that CPU temperature down. So I'm sure if I kept this up for a long time you'd have problems. Okay, so that's Soldier of Fortune 2. Now this is first golfing game. It's Tiger Woods PGA 2005. Of course, with a slower paced game such as golf, this machine, even though that fan's whirring away, doesn't have too many problems with this. And I'm sure it'll run some golfing games from a similar year. Without too many problems really. Oh, missed a shot there. Right, so that's Tiger Woods PGA 2005. Now this is a horror exploration game called Alone in the Dark. It's got some fairly decent effects. I'm sure this, despite the fan whirring away, I'm sure this machine might have a lot of trouble running this, because as I said before, it's more about exploration than anything. And if you notice, the screen swipes onto the next setting, so it's not like you're walking into one continuous scene. As you'll see, as I get towards this gate, it'll suddenly stop and then show you the next scene like that. Obviously when there's, as with most of these games, when there's a lot going on, I'm sure frame rate will go down, but at the moment got no problems at all with this one. And it's more about exploring anyway. Okay, so that's Alone in the Dark. Tomb Raider, Angel of Darkness, and of course it's a game series you'll be quite familiar with. Now any games before this, and maybe some after, should have no problems playing on this laptop. It's more about exploration rather than action. You might even be able to bump up the settings, quality settings slightly. Now I've noticed when it comes up with some text telling you to give you hints. The voice that is accompanying that is sped up, so there's obviously some sort of problem there, which I'm not quite sure about. But the character that seems to be working okay. That doesn't seem to be sped up, but as I say, it's just the voice accompanying the help text. But other than that, I think it should be okay. I'm not seeing any graphical glitches or anything. Okay, so that's Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness. Now this is the first Unreal game. It's actually got a single player campaign, but this is just a demonstration of a multiplayer bot game. Now I've noticed, and I will look into this, the game seems speeded up. Now I've got it on quite decent quality, but the movement and everything else seems to be sped up. I'm not sure it's because of this laptop, but I've played this before and it's never seemed like, and even the bots are like just too quick. Very strange, but anyway, it's worth trying out for the single player campaign, which is really good. Okay, so that's Unreal. Now this is Warcraft III, another familiar game series, World of Warcraft, and this is one of the early ones. Now I'm sure when there's not a lot going on the screen, it should be alright. These tend to have a lot of characters during battles moving on the screen, so I'm not sure how this laptop would fare, but at the moment, even though the graphical quality has not been reduced right down, I'm not getting too much difficulty here. So yeah, World of Warcraft 3 doesn't look to be too much of a problem at the moment anyway. This is another game that's familiar to a lot of people. It's Quake III Arena. Now I can't take this online, but on the highest settings the bots will give you a decent enough game, and I think, I mean at the moment I've got 8 bots, but I think you can have a lot more than that, and there's quite a few levels to it. Now you can be rest assured that this game will play Quake 1 and 2, which were single player campaigns. I mean, you could take it online, but those can be played on this machine with the single player campaign. This is completely multiplayer, Quake 3, but still, as I said before, these bots will give you a decent enough game, and you can actually still play this on Steam in a version called Quake Live, so take a look at that. Okay, so that's Quake 3. This is a game in the Need for Speed series, which is quite comprehensive, called Need for Speed Underground 2. Now with the graphical quality settings mostly set to low, there's quite a few of them, it still looks decent enough, and I'm not getting any pop-up, as it were, especially on the buildings, which sometimes you see. And the physics in this game are pretty good. You can still have a quite a good race with this. I mean, it's not, I suppose with the other opponent cars there might be a little bit of slowdown, and if there's a lot of traffic as well, but this is quite a good game as racing games go, and considering the age of it. I think it came out in 2004, so yeah, if you can put up with the low quality settings, you can have a decent experience with this racing game. Right, that's Need for Speed Underground 2. So just to sum up then, this laptop that came out, I think 2003, 2004, it'll play quite a few older games. Indeed, it surprised me that it could run the first Serious Sam game, and games like Quake and Doom and any other games that use those early graphical engines. You're still going to be able to have a decent gaming experience on this machine, even though you are limited by the age of the CPU and the RAM. So if you can pick one of these up dirt cheap and maybe also load up the arcade emulator called Main, which is loads of games for. You're gonna have a decent retro gaming box. Now, a few games like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I installed it and that seemed to run, but now it won't start up. It starts up and you get an error which I can't quite get to the bottom of. And some games like the first Unreal and the Tomb Raider game which I showed you, they play all right, but they seem to be speeded up, which again, it's an unknown error. And even bumping up the graphical quality, it still seems to be speeded up. Okay, so subscribe and like, and also let me know if you want me to try any other older games that you can't see in my list. If you want me to try any other games on this laptop. Thanks for watching.